with presentations from the Early Childhood Center and Hermes Elementary School. Our first agenda item is a presentation from the Early Childhood Center's administrative team on their continuous school improvement plan. Welcome Principal Susan Orozco and Assistant Principal Katie Harris.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Curriculum Board and Dr. Norell. Thank you for being here. We are, as told, the Early Childhood Center. I'm Susan Orozco, the luckiest principal in the world to work with our tiny Tomcats, our youngest officially schooled learners. And with me is Katie Harris, our assistant principal. So we'll be sharing the presentation this evening. We'd like to start off with our highlights from last year. Last year, our students maintained an average daily attendance of 87.4%. 75% of all of our classrooms reached 90% or more of full implementation of the Pyramid Model Classroom Essentials Checklist. This checklist makes sure that our environments are set up and our relationships are set up so that students have success during their preschool year. We also had 77% of our students grow one level or more on our assessment, the Desired Results Developmental Profile, affectionately known as the DRDP. First, they did 77% in our Math COG2 classification measure, and then 70% of our students grew one level or more in our language and literacy area, responsiveness of language, and then 100% of our classrooms continue to implement dual language prep.
Good evening, everybody. I am going to start with Goal 1, which aligns to educational equity. By May of 2025, all classrooms will achieve a score of 60% or higher in subscale 1, number 7, teaching behavior expectations as measured by the Teaching Pyramid Observation Tool. Our action plan includes conducting walkthroughs with feedback, professional development, and instructional coaching sessions, celebrations of classrooms, as well as individual staff celebrations, and analyzing the data from the Teapot Observation Tool to measure growth. Goal number 2 aligns to operational excellence, which will be the Early Childhood Center will maintain an average daily attendance of 95% or more in 7 of the 9 months between September of 2024 and May of 2025. The action plan here includes weekly team meetings where we will analyze data and and make connections with families to identify barriers to offer support and encouragement for positive routines, and then have year-end celebrations regarding our attendance plan.
And for our last 2 goals by May of this school year, in student achievement, 80% or more of our students that are scoring building middle and below are going to grow 2 or more levels in COG3, one of our math measures, number, sense of quantity. And we plan on putting into place, or we are continuing our action plan to make sure we're using our Common Formative Assessments, our CFAs, to see where students are and adjust our instruction as necessary. We're going to use our small group time when we're working on helping students grow through this to help them learn the skills that they need, including counting with one-to-one correspondence, oral counting, those types of things. And at our monthly ILT meetings, we're going to be looking again at our CFAs and our discussion notes from PLCs to see what additional supports we need to provide for our students and staff. Also in student achievement, we are going to have kind of the same entry, students that are building middle or lower on our initial scores. We'll move up 2 or more levels in the comprehension of age-appropriate text. This turns into kindergarten retelling skills, which are very important to support both reading and writing. And so again, we're using our CFAs to look at what's being done and make adjustments to that. We are going to explicitly model those retelling skills that they need. And again, in small groups, we're going to kind of hone down and help them learn the skills that they need to be successful in story retelling. And then at our ILT meetings, again, we're going to focus on that data, the CFA data, and our PLC discussion notes to see where we need to fill in some gaps and potentially provide more supports for the staff and students. Anyone have any questions?
Just a quick question. How often do you do the DRDP with students?
For preschool, we have 3 windows. There's a fall window. We're now in the winter window, which will close in mid-February. And then we have another spring window at the end of the year. So they have 3 points of collection for that. Mhm.
Okay.
No questions from me, just going back to the highlights. Good job throughout the last school year.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank
All
you
right,
so
thank
much.
you so much.
Our second item is a presentation from the Hermes Elementary School administrative team of their continuous school improvement plan. Welcome Principal Kelly Hills and Assistant Principal Jessica Henry.
All right, good evening, Dr. Norrell, Dr. Engel, Ms. Martinez, Cabinet, and members of the Board of Education. I'm Kelly Hills, the proud principal of Hermes Elementary School, and I'm here tonight with Jessica Henry, my amazing assistant principal. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you tonight about Hermes. Okay, all right, so some highlights that we want to share with you from last school year. 56% of our students made their expected growth in math in their reading in their L1. 56% also made their expected growth in math, and we are currently finishing up our winter administration right now. So we look forward to seeing our growth this year. On our iReady diagnostic, 44% of our students made their annual typical growth goal, and 19% met their annual stretch goal. And we're actually on track to beat both of those numbers this year. So we're very excited about that. On our access test on the writing portion, 55% of our EL learners achieved a proficiency level of 3.0 or above. And then I'm proud to say that we maintained a summative designation of commendable. This is our building-wide data from last year. Some celebrations from our data include the growth of our kindergarten students. Additionally, we had a large percentage of our 5th grade students meet or exceed their expected growth in MAP reading. An area of focus for us this year is our IAR scores, particularly in math. One of the things we've done this year is provided our 3rd through 5th grade teachers with IAR practice questions and tests. And additionally, we plan to start tutoring for 3rd through 5th grade students prior to IAR testing this year. Ms. Henry and I worked together to set the tone for this school year. And as we did that, we decided we wanted to focus on collaboration, celebrating staff and student achievements, and most importantly, ensuring that all of our decisions were data-driven to help our students reach their full potential. So at this point, we would like to share some of our 24-25 goals with you. Our first goal aligns with educational equity, and that is that by spring of 2025, 65% of students who take the access test will achieve a proficiency level of 3.0 or above in the writing portion of the access test. So we have continued to put a focus on writing in our building, and to achieve this goal, our action plan involves the collaboration of multiple teams and all of our staff members. Some things I'd like to highlight are the writing prompts that it's all of our learners who use these prompts, not just our EL learners. We have brought in members of the language acquisition department to work with us to provide professional development for our staff. We have implemented access prep within our classroom and differentiated instruction during our win time. We've implemented daily access bell ringers in classrooms since the beginning of the year. And then just last week, we concluded our 8-week access tutoring, where we targeted students based on our 2024 access scores.
Another goal we have under educational equity is that 95% of our students will receive 1 or less office discipline referral for the year. And we have been really focusing on positive reinforcements. One new initiative is milestone incentives for our students for good lunch and recess behavior. And so that has been decorating students' tables at lunch. It's been 5 minutes of extra recess and popcorn parties. We have also rolled out an initiative to make at least 1 positive phone call home for every student in the building before the end of the year, and we're keeping track of it on a chart. We have also been tapping into our district experts and have trained our lunchroom supervisors on trauma-informed practices. And one of our favorite things that we have continued from last year is celebrating Student of the Month for those students that demonstrate school expectations, and that's lunch with Ms. Hills and Ms. Henry. So that's why we love it. And our focus on positive reinforcement seems to really be working because we are on trend to meet this goal.
Our goal under operational excellence is that Hermes will maintain a cumulative monthly average daily attendance rate of 95% for the 24-25 school year. And one thing we would like to highlight is a new program we brought to Hermes, Attendance Buddies. And this is where we've taken students who have role model attendance, and we've intentionally paired them with students who need support with attendance. And we trained both pairs, and they meet every morning for about a minute, have their little pep talk, greet each other, and then the students can earn weekly incentives if they're at school each day of the week. Since the beginning of the year, we have seen success with this program, and we're even ready to graduate some of those students. For any of the students, there are a few that are not responding to this intervention, and we've already met with parents and or done home visits and are ready to implement a new intervention.
We have two student achievement goals. Oh, we have a lot of student achievement goals, but the two that I want to talk about tonight are both centered around MAP. Our first one is that 65% of our students in K-5 will meet or exceed their expected growth goals in reading as measured by NWEA MAP. And a few pieces of our action plan, we have items up there, but some things to highlight. Our leadership teams and our PLCs meet regularly to analyze student data. We are continuing to provide small group and grade level instruction during literacy block, WIN block, and this is based off of MAP and FMP data. Additionally, our teacher assistants are absolutely amazing at Hermes, and they also work with small groups of students on identified skill practice so that we can continue to support all of our kids. And we've also started holding quarterly awards assemblies. We started that last year in order to honor students' growth and achievements. And our last achievement goal for tonight is that also with MAP, 65% of our kids will meet or exceed their expected growth in math as measured on MAP. And a lot of our steps are the same because, you know, we are working towards the same goal. But one of the things I'm most proud of is our 5th grade team. They every week give like a mini CFA, and then they redo weekly guided math groups. And so that's been really awesome to see, and we've seen a lot of growth with our kiddos with that. We've also worked with our instructional coach and engaged our data analysts to add lunch and learns this year for our staff, and those focus on various instructional practices and data analysis. And in addition to the awards assemblies I mentioned previously, we've also implemented different incentives and assemblies to help motivate our students for testing. And that concludes our presentation for this evening. Thank you.
You guys have questions? I just want to give you a public kudos because really your data is most closely aligned out of all the schools that I've seen in terms of your CFAs and your MAP growth. So I'd be interested to see your IAR growth because I bet that aligns too. So that means your teachers are doing a phenomenal job and the creation of their CFAs are spot on. So that's definitely noteworthy. So I just wanted to put that in the record.
Thank you. And that's what I was going to say. That's all credit to our teachers. So
Absolutely. Yep.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the EA Magnet Lottery 25-26 with Dr. Jennifer Van Dusen.
Good evening, Board of Education, Superintendent Norrell, and members of Cabinet. I have for you this evening the school year 25-26 update on our magnet lottery process. So I'll go through with you just timelines and just some of our communication plan that we have planned for the upcoming weeks. Up first is kind of knowing a little bit about the open seats that we have for school year 25-26. Right now, we are slated for 75 open seats for 3rd grade students at Johnson Magnet School and 25 open seats for our 6th grade students at Fred Rogers Magnet Academy. For our eligibility criteria, we look at our NWEA MAP in both reading and math, which our schools have really highlighted and showcased a lot about the emphasis that goes into that. And so that is one of our major eligibility criteria. We're looking at being at or above the 50th percentile on those assessments. And then we also look at student grades, student progress in their classes as well. Our communication plan in the next couple of weeks, a couple things that I just want to highlight for you. In February would be our press release from the district about the lottery process and some key dates for families to know and be thinking about. In March will be calls and messages that are sent out to district families. Also in March, we have the magnet application process would be presented at our parent association meetings, coffee with principals, any schools that have specific newsletters that go out, we would showcase the process. So we're informing parents of important dates and what that looks like. And then in late March of this year would be if there are additional seats available, letters of invitation to those students that do meet the eligibility requirements for magnet. For our timeline, we have a fast and furious next couple of weeks, but in February 2025 of 2025, our window opens and the online application would be available. On Friday, March 21st, our deadline to submit the online application would close. April 11th, parents would be notified of the eligibility status. April 24th would be the actual lottery for students that met the criteria for incoming 3rd and 6th grade students. And then May 1st, parents would be notified of their student selection, or if we have a wait list, they would be notified at that time of that wait list status as well. And then May 22nd would be the deadline for parents to return the acceptance form of enrollment or the denial if in case they decided to not go that direction, but they would return that to the district as well. And then we would begin making sure that students are registered at the magnet school. And we are excited about continuing this opportunity for all of our young people. That concludes my presentation. Any questions for me?
I do have a quick question.
Okay.
Are these additional 25 seats for 6th graders come after the 75 there are in 5th grade?
Yeah, so the 75 would roll up. And then the 25 would be open to our 3 other they would be open to our elementary 5th graders for possible seats. So we would have a total of 100 seats at Fred Rogers.
And I don't know if you know the answer to this or someone can answer this for me. So we have 3 sections in Johnson for magnet for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Is that also the same model for dual language magnet that you have how does that work with 3 classrooms?
I can answer that because I was here when we had to make that transition. We just did that, I think, gosh, it's been 2 years. So this is our 2nd year with that. Because we still want to do the same model as all of our other elementary schools, we have expanded to 4 teachers. It's just that the 5th grade this year is the very last group of kiddos that will go over with just 3 because dual right now is only to 4. So 3 and 4 at Johnson are the 4 teacher model. And that 5th grade is the last year we'll only have 75 matriculate to FIRMA. And then that's why we still have 25 seats. But then going forward next time, we will still do a lottery, but it won't be as many as 25 seats. We'll just be filling for any attrition that we may have had. So it'll be a much smaller availability. You're right. When the 4th goes to 5th, and then the end of next year, we'll be filling those. So it's 1 more year on the old model because the answer to your question is yes, we did do the 4 teacher model. Yep.
Is there a possibility or maybe a look into the near future or expanding that magnet? Because I knew at the beginning when we transferred that over to Johnson, I think that was the goal. Have we ever looked at that again or?
So actually dual language has an unintentional positive consequence of moving dual into Johnson was that we just did just that. it actually forced us to open up additional seats. In fact, the last couple years, we completely cleared the lottery and didn't have any kiddos that met the requirements that did not get accepted. And so that was an unintended consequence, which was a good thing. And so we essentially have expanded that. As far as expanding that at the middle school level, we are a couple things. One, it's a space issue. And then to keep the level of STEAM programming that we have, to have those spaces, to have the expanded coursework and lab space to really run those high level science project lead the ways, it would be hard to add additional classes. And the other piece of that we've often talked about is that we want to mitigate brain drain in our other middle schools. And so, again, what we've been able to do is clear the wait list. So we'll see going forward if it poses a problem. The board will certainly have an opportunity to explore that in the future to look at a way to maybe add an extra section. But right now, we actually did expand Magnet as a result of going to dual.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3D on the agenda, the next item is the Rec Winter and Spring Catalog presented by Marissa Martinez.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Norrell, and cabinet members. Thank you again for this opportunity. Today I will present on our Rec Discovery Day that happened in December 14, 2024. These are families that we had present at our event. Just a lot of smiling faces, happy families, a lot of prize winners, smoothies, all the good stuff that we enjoyed that day. Discovery Day entailed yoga classes that had 21 participants, dance fitness, who had 15 participants, artistic adventures that housed pre-K to second grade with a whopping 24 participants. Creative Canvas had third to fifth grade, 17, and our foods class were pretty full at 15 at 24 participants. So overall, our students and our families enjoyed 116 experiences for attendees. Just a few pictures of our yoga that was very well enjoyed. Our dance. Our dance class was well attended. You'll see the smiling faces. Never mind.
It's just a
Next time.
It's just a brief little clip of one of the dance classes offered. It was really cute.
Yeah. Yeah, we had so many happy families. It was such a cute experience. Our families want more. I provided families and students, parents and students with a survey just to give us feedback, what they would like to see, that they enjoyed their class, just data that we can collect for future classes or workshops. Dance and yoga, fitness, parent and student feedback. So overall, 100% of our parents enjoyed the class. Would retake it again. 100% of our parents found it very beneficial. 83% of our students enjoyed their class. I think a lot of parents just said, hey, let's go. And they were not too happy, some of them. 93% of students prefer classes with their parents. Again, this was the lower level classes, so they're still pretty new. And 7 brave % of students would do the class by themselves. Now moving on to our artistic side. So we hosted 2 classes, Artistic Adventures and Creative Canvas. Again, as the pictures show, a lot of happy families, smiles, just overall a great time. Data, again, 100% of our parents enjoy the class and would retake it again. 100% will recommend the class to other parents or students. Student data, 91% of our students enjoyed it. 80% prefer to have classes with their parents, and 20% of the students would like to do it by themselves. Moving on to our culinary strand, we held a Create a Healthy Breakfast and cookie decorating, which was very popular. Our healthy breakfast was not so full. And I think as parents, we're noticing that, oh, there's, do we have space available? Which they enjoyed it. They enjoyed staying for both classes. So it was beautiful to give the parents overall a great experience of what the rec center has to offer. Data from our culinary classes, 100% of our parents enjoyed it and would retake it again. 100% found the class beneficial. Student data, 84% of our students enjoyed their class, 66 prefer to do it by themselves or with their parents, and 22 prefer the class by themselves. This class was a nice mixture of lower level and middle school students, so that was nice to see the mixture. Parent and student recommendations. So again, from the survey, I gathered data and feedback from our parents, in this slide, I just pointed out what parents would like to see in the future: more hands-on cooking, traditional foods, dance, yoga with weights, Pilates, parent workshops, knitting, sewing, and health resources. Students would like to see a lot of art, dance, cooking, music classes, technology, pretty much what the rec center has to offer. We had a lot of students would want to do more baking. So that's something that we look forward to in the future. Now we will go on to a preview of our winter and spring catalog. So in this catalog, I took the data that was collected from the Rec Discovery Day, and we created just a presentation or a catalog. You'll see here what we plan to offer in February for the art studio. So we have a few painting classes and a few artistic adventures. So we will focus on our middle school, pretty much all of our age group, pre-K to 12. The same thing goes for March. Again, I'm just taking the feedback and the data that I received and created classes to suit our families and our students. April classes. So we're looking at creating comics for middle school and high school. Again, that artistic adventure was such a good hit for our pre-K to 5th grade students. February for our culinary, we're focusing on 4 classes. So we broke it down to 6th to 12th grade and then 1st through 5th grade. Same thing goes for March and April. Let's see, same for dance. We're hosting classes again once or twice a week. February, March, dance, yoga, and that is, yeah. So we look forward to seeing what the rec has to offer for our families the next few months and look forward to seeing many smiling faces. Oh, we do hope to add a jumpstart class. Come in the next few months, we just have to get staff for the class and just kind of have a nice opportunity for our jumpstart, which is 0-3. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rosary. So that's one class that we do plan to offer in the future. And we do also have a parent engagement section that we plan to offer. A lot of parents, again, want that yoga piece. We still have to find an instructor for that, but it should be coming soon. And then just information about the Resilience Education Center. And does anybody have any questions?
When this starts, I mean, the parents just have to show up, or do they sign up?
No, they sign up. So
Okay.
when we did Discovery Day, they would call and we created a spreadsheet and that's how parents signed up.
Well, I'm glad to see that. I think from what I saw, the catalog, we have, Saturdays and then during the week
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So that is nice, for some of the parents that are not able to attend maybe this one, they could go and attend a different class. So that's good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have a quick request if it's possible to attach this presentation to our agenda item.
Yeah, absolutely. I will take full responsibility. They were still, because they did post and offer our staff this, so they were still getting some of the details down. So I told them to hold it so that they can give you a preview tonight. It's actually not going to go until next week, and then it'll be the full catalog so that the entire board will have a chance to look it over starting that Thursday when you get the board packet. So, yep, I just asked her to hold it because it was not quite finished.
Thank you for the presentation. It was good to see there's some activity. What I wanted also to see some of the data,
Yeah.
how many students are actually attending classes during the day, during the school hours.
Oh, okay.
So we can have an idea as to how often the facility is being used by the
Yeah.
students during the day as well. Thank
Gotcha.
you.
Mitchell, I hate to put you on the spot. You're going to kill me for this, but a board member Gillespie, I think we can tell you that actually right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to look at Mitchell, but although you're
Yeah.
there too, so you can
Yes.
speak to this, but I know she has programming. So every single block, so on Mondays and Wednesdays is red day, and Tuesday and Thursday is black day, with alternating Fridays, red and black. And every single period of every day, we have utilized the art studio, the culinary studio, the dance yoga studio, the esports. And then on opposite red and black days, we have music production and broadcast journalism. So that's the only one that's split. So basically, we have 5 of those sites filled with students for all 4 periods, right? Because we have 4 periods that run red days, 4 periods that run black days, or?
Yes.
Okay. So they're running 3, right? Got it. Yep. So that's your, but all of the rooms are full for those periods,
Yes.
because I know they alternate teachers on days, because one teacher has filled their schedule while the other one's at the high school, and then that vice versa. So we are running full, and I don't have exact section numbers, but they're anywhere from what, 18 kids to, would you say 25?
24, yeah.
24? Okay.
So what's the number of students that can be housed at one particular time?
Up to 400 at one
Yeah.
particular time, but we build in some for lunch. So let's say that 5 of those rooms are running, and you have 20 students, then we're not near our maximum. But keep in mind, we still have the possibility for red day or black day for half of the seniors to be able to be in the building for that entire period. So we staff the classes, but we also make sure that we're covered and we're not doing a fire hazard for lunch.
Okay. I just know that one of the reasons for the rec center was the social emotional kind of support, and that we're utilizing, the students are being, and families are utilizing that social emotional part for that
And
facility.
That's a good point. Do we have an update on the hiring? I know we posted for
Yes.
counselors to be able to provide the counseling services until we get an official partner. The board gave us the authority to move forward.
We did. They were board approved at the last meeting, and we're moving along with a streamlining a process for referring students from our district. So we created a process, we created a flyer, so we're going to connect with our student services team
Okay.
and get it moving.
So they're every day after, Monday through Thursday after school counseling.
Yes.
From what are the hours?
We are looking at 4 to 7.
Okay.
Okay.
So can we, just like we get the report, the goals and, ideas, if we can have that same type of presentation from the rec center
Absolutely.
as well, how many students you plan on having enroll and utilize in the facility, and then what are the goals in terms of meeting that
Absolutely.
social emotional support?
Absolutely.
Okay,
We can
thank
get
you.
that. So we look forward. It's okay. We look forward to seeing a lot of happy faces, but I think that's it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. The next presentation is regarding Light Sail Platform by Dr. Amy Engel.
We are so excited because we had the opportunity to try out the Light Sail platform when we did the Great Reading Tournament, and it was a big hit in our middle school program. We know that reading is an important focus for our students, and during that Great Reading Tournament, if you recall from our last meeting, Waldo Middle School actually received recognition for their participation. The platform itself is what we're hoping to get some licenses for and make it available to all of our middle school students for this upcoming school year. And if it goes well, we will consider looking towards elementary as well. Thank you.
Okay. The next presentation is in regards to the K-5 literacy pilot recommendation with Dr. Rita Guzman and Dr. Amy Engel.
Good evening, curriculum board, Dr. Norrell, and cabinet members. So good evening. Today we come with an update regarding K-5 literacy pilot recommendation. We really wanted to again start off with our pillars: equity, educational equity, and student achievement. That was really our pillars that we really anchored on. The pilot summary: there was 2 products that were piloted: HMH, into reading, Arriba la lectura, and Benchmark, Advance Adelante. 58 teachers piloted all across the district, all programs and buildings, inclusive of dual language, opt-out, and special education. There was a realm of teachers within special education that also participated in the pilot. And then pilot teachers were trained by the vendor and received support throughout the pilot. We had a total of 9 kindergarten teachers. We had 7 first grade teachers, 9 second grade teachers, 10 third grade teachers, 11 fourth grade teachers, 12 fifth grade teachers. And this was really important. And we really anchored on those pillars due to the fact that this was going to impact over 5,000 students in different programs throughout our school district.
We were very excited to offer opportunities for the staff members in the pilot to provide feedback. And we did that throughout the pilot. And we also wrapped up the pilot with a participant exit survey. And these are the results that you see there. It was on a scale of 1 to 3, with 1 being low, 3 being high. And as you can see, HMH resoundingly received higher ratings than our benchmark products, which leads us to the recommendation. In the survey, we also asked for specific feedback and open-ended questions, and several staff members gave us some great feedback there as well. They talked a lot about how important the foundational literacy, the reading support, and the alignment with our current resources were. And that was a big emphasis with the HMH platform. And they were also looking especially for equitable resources that honored both English and Spanish, and HMH was able to provide that as well. We were super excited. HMH also includes an AI reading tutor. Her name is Amira, and the students absolutely loved it, and the staff members really appreciated the data it provided. So we're recommending the 6-year adoption of the HMH Into Reading and Arriba la Lectura resource. It would include the student digital licenses, including Amira, the student MyBooks, the student Know It, Show It books, and the teacher digital licenses, teacher guides, and appropriate teacher materials for each grade level, along with the professional development to ensure a strong start.
So this is the breakdown, cost by grade level, and the product, and what it would cost per grade level, the professional development, the shipping and handling, so the total product cost. In addition to that, we really wanted to make sure that we continue to focus and provide support for our teachers and our administrators with this new core curriculum. So there's a timeline where February we would continue to include materials ordering so that they could arrive on time and that we could have enough time to distribute, inventory, the planning for implementation, curriculum needs, all the professional development that goes with a new curriculum adoption, in addition to not just learning how to use the material, but actually teaching components within the literacy plan, in addition to pieces of the components of reading. March through May, digital access to materials provided to all teachers, professional development continues. And then summer, obviously, continues supplemental professional development offering for all stakeholders involved with this piece. And the material distribution, making sure that everyone has what they need and that they have enough time to be able to explore it before they leave the end of the school year, and have time for that planning that occurs during the summer.
A quick question for you.
Yes.
I see that we had 58 teachers that were piloting, total teachers. How many teachers piloted Benchmark, and how many teachers piloted HMH?
I'm going to have Amy answer that question.
It wasn't quite exactly split evenly. There were a little bit more who tried out the HMH than it was benchmark.
So HMH could have received a higher score because there were more.
They could
On
have.
the
There was an
pilot.
average score though, so
Okay.
it wasn't individual scores.
Okay. I just personally, I wanted to say thank you for all the staff that participate in the pilot. I know how hard it can be, and just trying new stuff while in the school year. For me, just a recommendation for next time we pilot curriculum. I would prefer to have staff pilot both curriculum at the same time, because it's very difficult to assess one and take the word from your other colleagues when you didn't try it. And I know that this is the way that maybe has been done before, but I would prefer to have, if next time, if we're going to pilot something, that the staff has the ability to pilot both, so they can have a complete picture of both programs.
Absolutely. Thank you for the feedback.
Since, I'm still learning. So what have you done in past years when you kind of pilot different tools for the teachers to utilize? I mean, what's that process?
So it's a long process. There is a determination of first the rubric, and then looking for products of whatever it is that we want to pilot. After that, they have a presentation with each of the vendors, and then from that vendor list, they go ahead and determine from their presentations who do they want to continue. Then they still narrow it more down based on the rubric on what they're looking for within that purchased product that they want to pilot. And from there, they go ahead and determine which two finalists is the ones that they actually want to pilot. And then half the teachers usually do one, and then the other half does the other.
Okay. So it is somewhat kind of make a comparisons.
It is. And
Okay.
it's really like board member Saul Oliva shared, it's really trusting your peers. But they came together and they went ahead and compared them as they came together throughout the process.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I also want to thank the teachers who piloted the program. Like Mr. Oliva said, I would want to see, I guess, in the future, the balance of the pilot, just to make sure that, that one's not just selected because maybe they have 40 teachers who tried this one and, the difference over here. So I just would like to see that balance, just so the numbers aren't skewed in any way. I have no problem. How do we, Title I fund, where does this come from? The title money, or
because it is a core curricular resource, title dollars aren't used for this. So
okay, understood.
I have to say both curriculums, I think if you talk about neighboring districts, they're either using benchmark or HMH. So it's different when, because I know West Aurora uses HMH, and over in Oswego we use benchmark. So it's, it's very, right.
Yes.
So, both curriculums, are kind of targeting, you have to look at the population that you're serving and what best serves their students. So, and again, we might be like all in Aurora, but we have different needs. So, but again, thank you for all who participated in the pilot.
And thank you, Mr. Olivas, for mentioning that, because we really did look at those components because of the program that we have, really looking at the morphology, the phonology of the words that were used, the vocabulary, the syntax, all of the vocabulary that was incorporated within those reading content materials. We really looked at those pieces. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And if Dr. Rita Guzman, if you can stay there, the next presentation is regarding world language curricular resources.
So this is really good news for the feedback that you guys just gave. For current reality, today I'm here to speak about the Heritage and AP Spanish Curriculum Pilot Proposal. We're looking at textbook. Currently, the reality is that they are working with textbooks from 1997 and 2002. So we are very due for to begin some of this piloting in Spanish. I was trying to look up who the vendor was for this one, Tu Mundo y Nuestro Mundo, and obviously some of the pieces are not even in copyright anymore. So that is, we're urging. Oh, did you learn this? Okay, so some of us learned Spanish with these materials. So we are looking at piloting new curriculum. and this was brought to us by our teachers. So we are very happy to be able to respond to them. The program desired, right, Heritage Spanish curriculum needs to be revamped for students, especially with our dual language programming, especially with our students having a lot more exposure to different languages and us really pushing and valuing language. So strong AP Spanish language exams, especially with our seal of biliteracy really increasing, and focus on evidence-based reading and writing for the 4 language domains, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. A strong emphasis on that, and preparing students like we shared for the Apple exam, for the seal of biliteracy, for the accommodation, or for them to actually prove that they are fluent in all languages. And obviously with the technology needs, we just wanted to share that's one of the rubrics that we shared, that's one of the vendor list requirements before we even looked at any material. So the pilot process would be selecting the pilot material, implementation for 6 weeks, and I do want to share that each teacher will pilot each one so that they could be able to determine which one they prefer. Obviously, feedback analysis throughout, and curriculum updates, and much training after what is determined that they wanted to go ahead and go with. So the vendor options for AP Spanish is Vista Higher Learning, Wayside, and Savas. And the vendor options for Heritage Spanish, Vista Higher Learning, Wayside, and Carnegie. Those are basically our tops for world language for Spanish. Thank you. Is there any questions?
No. So are we still using Dumundo?
Yes, we have, and we've
Wow.
also, but the teachers,
just-
the teachers have created units and created, their own materials, but they've asked us, they really want to continue to now establish something. And honestly, it's just that they had not found something that they really wanted to pilot. And the Spanish world and world language has really, been actually really escalating and really being able to produce good products now.
Yeah, I was going to speak to that, just being a former high school person in that world, that heritage language is different than normal, when you think about language acquisition, and so most of the vendors produce books for just regular Spanish 1, Spanish 2. So heritage, if you find a good book that actually meets the needs, which are very different needs for those who are heritage speakers, they hang on to that. And so they were just kind of hanging on to it with all of their materials. But now, thank you to the curriculum team. Yeah, they've been able to convince everyone to do something different. So
yes, and we have very strong voices in our world language department. So they very strongly feel regarding the recommendations that they're making to pilot. Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our final presentation is regarding the Educational Credential BA program with NIU, presented by Asa Gordon.
Good evening, Curriculum Committee, Dr. Norrell. Very quickly, if you remember last spring, I was up here in front of you presenting about our teacher vacancy grant, and we utilized some of the funds to work with our non-certified staff who had bachelor's degrees to allow them to be able to go back and become certified teachers. Well, we have looked at that, and it's been going very well, but we wanted to expand that outreach. We know that from that original survey that Human Resources sent out, we have other staff who are interested in becoming certified teachers who may not have a bachelor's degree. This is where the LEAP program with NIU comes into play. Their particular program will allow us to work with 28 non-certified staff to allow them to earn a bachelor's degree in the science of special education. They will also receive an endorsement in the LBS 1. So this is a 18-week program that will be done in the evenings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every 8 weeks, they're taking classes. So the classes run fairly quickly every 8 weeks. It's a cohort model where the students are together. The one thing that we liked about the program with NIU is that it is virtual. So it's virtual. However, NIU said, hey, you know what? We can do it virtually, but we've also seen that this works well if 1 or 2 times during the 8 weeks, the students actually meet face-to-face. So we took that feedback, and we're going to have, of the 8-week sessions, the first and the fourth session will actually be face-to-face here in the district. but it does allow for our staff who are teachers assistants to be able to receive the certification with the majority of the time remotely. So as I mentioned, it's an 8-week program, starts this summer, and these people will have their degree and certification by December of 2026. One thing that we mentioned, that we had discussions as the cabinet, and then conversations as of Friday with NIU was, okay, these 28 people will be special ed teachers, but what can we do in addition to this to give them more flexibility? So if this is approved, we have talked with Northern to say, can we add on an extra semester? Let's say you got your associates in history, or you got your associates in English. Well, NIU said you're only a couple of classes away from getting the middle school endorsement or the high school endorsement. So if this gets approved and we have our people who apply, their transcripts will be evaluated by NIU, and then we will reassess to see how many additional classes in that additional semester in spring of 27 can these 28 people take to be able to get additional endorsements. So that is the proposal as you see here. Are there any questions?
Is this the only university that we looked at for this program, or did we explore any other possibilities of networking with any other?
Great question. So we looked at our partners. If you remember, we did the first one with Aurora University. The reason why we looked at NIU, just kind of spreading the wealth a little bit, but NIU has had experience in this particular program with people with an associate's. So they have already run this program with another district, and they're actually looking, when we start if we are able to start our cohort, they're looking to do something similar like this in rural areas. So their College of Education has experience in working with school districts in this area.
And let me say this, Mr. Gordon, I'll jump in. One thing to note publicly is this will be completely grant funded. So when we look at the budget in terms of maximizing the number of our staff that we could offer this to, looking at somewhere that's not more of a private university, our dollars are going to go much further. It's still a very reputable university and a proximity too. So that is our closest state degree credentialing granting university in Illinois. So that also factored into our selection of NIU as well.
When is the deadline for that we might approve this, or if there are timelines that we can go back and maybe explore other possibilities?
Sure. So it was slated to go to the board for approval on next Monday. Gosh, I can't believe the next board meeting is a week away. We got kind of backlogged. So it would be next Monday. However, if we want to halt, we'll just let Northern know and maybe we start it next year. So we could just have our staff wait a year. That's fine.
Because there is a teacher shortage. And so I think I think the staff has done their due diligence. And so I think we, at least for now, if this is grant funded, that we move forward.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yep. To your point, it is grant funded. When does the grant end? What's the end date?
So the grant,
that's what we're up against.
We have to spend the money. It's a 3-year grant. We've already spent the money for the first year. The second year expenditure needs to be done by June 30th.
Of 2025?
Of 25, yes.
Yeah, and then we have one more.
And then we have one more year
to pay those tuition. Okay.
I mean, taking into account both of the comments, I mean, I agree there is a teacher shortage, and I believe we should probably, look into this and move forward. I agree next time, maybe have another, maybe show us, a couple different options. But for now, I would say probably move forward.
But what he said was, what Dr. Norrell said is state colleges and not private, right?
Right.
And Northern is the closest state college that offer these types of programs.
Again, it was just a clarifying question, right? I just want to clarify to make sure if we had time or not saying that we were not going to follow through. But again, having options, whether it be private or not, I think it's always a good thing to look at. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Our last agenda item will be the updated enrollment. You have the documents in your packet, and our current enrollment is 12,312 students. We have no new business for this evening at this time. I would like to thank you all for joining us on this 27th day of January 2025 for our curriculum board committee meeting. We will now adjourn this meeting at 6:55 p.m.